Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for your time. I know that time is the one thing we have in very, very short supply in our busy world. So I appreciate your taking the time and investing to hear about what I think is one of the most important discussions we can have in our industry today with all of the changes and with everything that we are um, trying to manage and handle. Without any doubt, compensation is, at least for what I hear, one of the biggest headaches that agency owners have. And we usually hear one of two things. And for those of you I have not had a chance to meet, my name is Tom Baker. My business partner, Nina Messer, is on also. Our company, Catalyst, works with the only talent management system for the insurance industry. We come at compensation in a bit of a different way because we find that if you're not saying my compensation gives me a headache, I hear other agency owners say, hey, it seems to be working. And I know some of you that I talked with before we started, you're just always out looking for ideas. And one of the things that sometimes creates, I was just with an agency um, last week, and I believe they had 10 employees, and they had the same number of compensation plans as the number of employees they had. And we run into that a bit because we are just looking for answers, either because it's a headache or we just say, I want to make sure I'm on the right track with the way I'm compensating staff. But I want to particularly address the comments that we hear that, yeah, my compensation plan seems to be working. And I'd like to go through just a very short quiz. And I'm going to ask you some questions. And yeah, in your mind, think about, does your current compensation plan make you an employer of choice? In other words, does it help you become, oh, good, I didn't show those one at a time. Does it make you an employer of choice? Does it help you attract and retain top talent? Compensations is a big issue for people, and we want to make sure that the way you're compensating people makes you an employer of choice. Is it results based as opposed to time based? Are you paying people for the amount of time they sit at their desk, or are you paying them for the results that they deliver? Is it staff driven? Do you have to motivate your staff and try to get them doing their job, or even worse, babysit? Is it staff driven so that staff take personal responsibility for their compensation and for the job that they're doing? One of the ways we put this is your compensation plan and your culture. Do you have job owners or do you have job renters? We believe in job owners. Is it self-tracked? And that's part of the job owner kind of thought process, that do you have to try to keep up with staff, or are they responsible for their own success and to track their performance? Is it millennial friendly? For the first time in any of our industries, but particularly in insurance, we have multi-generational agencies. You have boomers, you have Gen X, and you have Gen Y or millennials. Each one of those generations is different in what they look for and in what compensation means to them. Is it accounting friendly? One of the things that I hope is not true in your agency, but if you're using tiered compensation, for example, if you do premium up to this amount, you get one bonus or commission. If you go to the next tier, you get something different. And that means accounting's got to figure out, where are people in the tier? How does this work? Does reconciliations have to take place? Accounting, one of the people I never want to get on my bad side in an agency is whoever's doing the accounting, because anything that happens, we believe, has to be accounting friendly. Is it anti-entitlement? In other words, do you have people that come January 1 with your current compensation? Do they expect a raise just because they're a year older and it's a brand new year. Compensation should be anti-entitlement. Does your compensation plan provide for recognition and reward? Does it recognize the achievements of people, and does it also reward them financially? Both are very important things and psychologically in people's lives. Does it pay the right people? One of the questions I hear is, I don't know, am I overpaying the wrong people and underpaying the right ones? You should be able to know that in your compensation plan. Does it engage staff, not motivate? You will never motivate anyone. It's impossible to motivate someone, and some of us been, trying to do that all of our work lives. Is, how do I motivate this person? And the answer is you don't. Jim Collins addressed this in Good to Great, that you find people who bring motivation with them, and then what you do is simply engage them and turn them loose. But your compensation plan, if you're trying to motivate people to do their job differently, you're going to have a problem with that. Does your current compensation plan celebrate successes and recognize challenges? Does it do both? We want to celebrate what's going on really well, but we also want to recognize the areas of growth, and your compensation plan should do that. And the biggest one in my book, does it make you money? Is your compensation plan, the way that you're compensating staff, is it something that generates revenue for the agency, or is it an expense? I've got to tell you, as a business owner, I don't like expenses. I like revenue streams. And this is not how compensation is generally looked at, but your compensation should actually be a revenue stream for you, not just an expense that you're paying out with no real idea of what you're getting in return. So my question, does your compensation plan achieve all of these results? We believe the answer should be absolutely. You can check every box. If you're not able to check every box, then it's very possible your compensation plan's not working as well as you might think it is, because there are ways to get all of those results from your compensation plan. And my objective today is to do a couple of things. I want to first and foremost give you a way to think about compensation differently. But I also want to give you a way that you can leave here, and if you want to, create a results-based compensation plan that achieves all the goals that we're just looking at. Now, the way that I'm going to train you to do that is to show you the way we do it within our system and how we work with agencies. You can do this on an Excel spreadsheet if you want to. I've got to tell you, that's a very difficult way to do that. You probably have tried to create something maybe like we're going to do at some point. It's much easier if you have a system to do that with, but I want to give you the principles that you can use to take back to your staff, and if you want to, create a results-based compensation plan. What we're looking at right now on the screen is, and I'm going to double check and make sure that that is in fact showing. Fantastic, it is. What we're looking at is a staff dashboard. Now, imagine for a moment if every one of your staff tomorrow morning, when they come into work, if they could look at a score 51.89 and know that this is their individual performance evaluation score. Right now, the only way for non-producer, your support staff, and that's the majority of your staff, the only way that your staff right now has to measure how successful are they, how well have they done their job, generally is how much backlog do I have, and has anyone gotten angry with me, mad at me today? If my backlog is kind of caught up and if nobody's upset with me, then it's been a pretty good day. Now, tomorrow when I come in, my backlog may be piled up again. So that's not a very satisfying kind of a measure for the job that I'm doing. Imagine that not only can your staff tomorrow morning come up with an objective number that someone says, hey, what I should have, and I'm going to go left over here to this 57.14, I should have 57.14. I've got 51.89, so I'm close. I can at least see where I need to look at my challenges and see where I need to grow. But, you know, the entire agency has 45.25, so I'm doing better than my teammates. I've got a little bit to go in my score, but this is an objective number that, imagine for yourself also being able to walk by any staff's desk and say, what you score today, and they would be able to tell you, this is how I'm doing my job. Now, the way that we recommend you do this is every report period starts at 0 and works up to 100. So the idea is by the end of September, this report period is July 1 to September 30. By the end of September, this should be somewhere between 95 and 100. That's the target if you want to do a results-based compensation plan. Right now, we're about 57% through the report period. That's why the evaluation score should be around 57. So Jack right now, who is our staff, Jack's a little behind, but we've still got about half of the report period, so no problem, Jack can get caught up. I'm going to look at the 7 items. There's 7 and a compliance audit. You may or may not be familiar with the term key performance indicator, KPI. A key performance indicator is a habit that if staff get in the habit of doing these things every day, you're going to change actions because you change what staff focus on a daily basis. These are not goals like you're going to set high and stretch goals. These are behaviors that you're wanting your team, you wanting your staff to follow and develop these habits on a daily basis. Think a moment if you're driving and you look over the passenger seat, and if you look to the right, you're going to steer the car to the right. That's what KPIs are based on. You want people focusing on this on a daily basis because it's going to steer the agency the direction you want it to go. We have one agency, and it's a large agency, that they have never done a great job of Google reviews. And in the first 30 days of assigning it as a KPI, now this is an agency with about 35 in-house staff, so it's a large agency. In the first 30 days, they received 54, that's an amazing amount, 54 Google reviews in the first 30 days. And staff on their own, without being told to, sent out about 250 emails soliciting Google reviews. The agency owner was thrilled because suddenly, just because it's a KPI, staff were focused on it. The behavior changed because actions follow focus. If your staff is not doing the things that you want them to do, whether it's processes, procedures, behaviors, whatever, the reason they're not doing it is because they don't have a clear focus on what's expected of them. It's not that they don't care. They may not care, but that's not necessarily the reason. The reason your staff is not doing the things you want them to do is because they do not have a daily focus. Everything's hot in our industry. Everything's got to be done right now. If that email comes in, I've got to do it. If the phone rings, I've got to answer it. If customer wants something, if the owner or producer wants something, I've got to do it. And it means there's no focus. My only focus is putting out what immediate fire is there. If your staff is not doing the things you want them to do, it means they do not have something to focus on a daily basis. That one little piece of advice, insight, is worth the price of admission, because I promise you that's true in every one of your agencies. Now, we have KPIs that begin with ask. Hey, folks, right now, all you got to do is ask. You don't even have to get a testimonial. All you got to do is ask. Completed proposals. We have a compliance audit that I'll show you how to do if you want to do it. And it actually ties how you follow procedures, document in the management system, manage renewals, cancellations, new business, and you tie following procedures directly to compensation. Maybe there's a KPI of new households or accounts, new premium. We've actually created about 90 different KPIs for every position. It's not just customer facing or licensed, it's everybody in the agency. I'll be more than happy to provide you with that list if you would like it. There are about 90 KPIs we have. We have new suggestions coming to us, so we expand that list usually at least once or twice a month. Now, here's how you're going to track this and how you're going to tie behaviors to compensation. We look at a total goal for the, let's say, the year, January 1, 2019 to December 31. We're in a report period, July 1 through September 30. For this period, Jack's goal is to get 30 times he asks for customer testimonials. If I multiply 30 by 57.14, by this time of the period, Jack should have about 17. I say about because it's going to round it up or down, but Jack should have about 17. Jack's got 31. He has knocked it out of the park with asking for customer testimonials. So Jack has a maximum score. Here's how it works. Write down this formula. Whatever percentage of the goal for this period your staff achieves, whatever the actual is compared to goal, if Jack gets 90% of his goal, he gets 90% of a maximum score, which is 10. If Jack gets 100% of his goal, he gets 100% of his maximum score. If he gets over his goal, it still is a maximum score. So that score of 51.89 literally is at this point, Jack should have done 57.14% of his job. He's actually done 51.89, so he's close, but he still has about less than half the period to catch up. If Jack goes over, it is still a maximum score because every one of these KPIs stand on its own. It falls into a category that we change from a response or from an opportunity to earn more money to a responsibility. This is how you move from job renters to job owners. If Jack knows that he has an opportunity to make money, every one of us has offered bonus to our staff, and we found bonuses don't work. We want to help people make more money, and some of them just, they don't care. They don't need the money. They don't want to work. They just don't want to do it. Here's how you change that. Jack, we've got a maximum score that adds up to 100. So on any given report period, the top score is 100. We recommend you go 95 to 100, you get 100% of your money. If you get 90 to 94, you get 75% of your money. Down to 80 to 84, you get 25%. If you get less than 80, not only do you not get any of your money, but you may get a disciplinary warning because, Jack, this is not an opportunity, it's a responsibility. It's your job to do your job, and we're going to tie your compensation to your doing your job. And if you fail to earn at least 95 to 100 to get all of your money, it means not only do you not get your money, it means you've not done your job. This is a game changer in how your staff looks at their job and looks at their compensation. So we have 90 KPIs. We can help you if you want to come up with maximum scores. More than happy to help you do that. And you're going to get a score somewhere between 0 and 100 by the end of the report period. Now, in Jack's case, he has $912.50 on the table. That's his money. It's not a bonus. It's his job to earn that money. There's a principle that we follow called psychological ownership. If you want to Google it, you can find a lot of information on the internet about psychological ownership. Psychological ownership is the power of what drives some people, maybe you, to get angry when you spot a parking place and somebody comes up and takes your parking place. And you get angry because That's my parking space. Now, psychological ownership is where emotionally you own something before you physically or legally possess it. That's psychological ownership. Bonuses have no ownership of any kind because it's out there, it's if I want it. There's no direct connection to me, so there's no pain of loss if I don't get it. If Jack believes $912, that is my money. One agency in Georgia, CSR, came to the owner, Kevin, and said, Kevin, I don't like KPIs. I think it's a waste of time. I don't think it works, but that's my money on the table, and I'll be darned if I leave a dime of it there. And yeah, he wished that she had a better attitude, but she got it. That's my money. If your staff is not doing the things that you need for them to do, and it's their job to do, not only do they not have a focus, but they do not have an emotional buy-in. They lack the psychological ownership, because if people believe they will lose something that's theirs, they will do whatever they have to not lose what's theirs. And if they genuinely don't care and they score less than 80, not only do they not get their money, but there are consequences of their job. And most agency owners, confrontation of staff is not something you enjoy doing. This completely takes it out of your hands. It takes it out of the emotions. It takes it out of, well, this person, I want to consider what's going on in their life. It gives you an objective metric that the staff knows they're doing their job. When you sit down with them, all you're doing is helping them do their job. And all you're doing is looking at a contract. And the contract says, Jack, when you do this, here's the results. When you do not do this, here are the results. Here's what I'm going to do for you in payment. It's a contract. And what you're doing is managing processes, leading people, which is, besides psychological ownership, job owners, job renters, the way we do that is a philosophy called manage processes, lead people. I've met very few agency owners that enjoy managing people, because managing people is like pushing a boulder up the hill. You keep pushing, but if you trip, that boulder's going to come right back down on you. And even if you got good people, still managing people is just a lot of work. The alternative is to set up a system that staff take responsibility for their own behavior, and they take responsibility for doing their job. And in this case, one of the ways that Jack will know that he does his job is he's going to earn $912.50. It's Jack's job to earn that money. We're going to put processes in place through the KPIs, so I don't have to try to get Jack. Jack is going to take his motivation. I'm going to engage him by giving him a focus and giving him a stake in the outcome. Now, that's Jack's personal accountability, but you also want accountability of the entire agency, the entire team. The way that I recommend you do that, we've introduced something that, as far as I know, is unique in our industry, and that is revenue sharing. Now, profit sharing you may have tried, and profit sharing is problematic, because with profit sharing, if you spend the money before it gets to the bottom line, staff understand there's no guarantee what's going to be on the bottom line. We recommend a very different approach. Now, imagining your staff, and imagine you have a receptionist who's unlicensed. And this individual, when the agency hits its goal for a month, that receptionist gets a piece of every dollar that comes into the agency, as long as the agency achieves its goal. This is based on a quote by John F. Kennedy: a rising tide lifts all boats. In other words, when the agency rises, everybody rises with it. When the agency wins, everybody wins. With this philosophy, you can take all non-producer staff, all of your support staff, regardless licensed or not, doesn't matter, because this is not commission, so it's okay with our friends at the state board. Imagine tying everyone into a responsibility that not only do I have responsibility as an individual with my own performance income, but when we work together and the agency grows, everybody gets a piece of the action, whether it's personal, commercial, life, benefits, broker fees, whatever you want to toss in the pot. Now everyone has a reason to work together. I've seen, you probably have too, but I have seen small agencies with one personal lines individual and one commercial lines, and they don't talk to one another. They're still not rounding out their commercial lines business and getting their personal lines. That's crazy, because most agencies can easily grow between 10 and 20% if you just rounded out your commercial lines customers with personal lines business. How do you do that? You change the focus, you change the game to where there's individual ownership, and then when everyone works together and that commercial lines person refers to life, and when that personal lines person refers to commercial, and you get that cooperation, you start closing those gaps, and the agency then is growing because everyone has a stake. They're job owners, not job renters. You're going to show, even staff, if you want to, I recommend showing performance, including agency revenue. Now, some agency owners are not comfortable with showing agency revenue. I understand their reason. The reason usually is, well, staff, boy, they're going to see we do $3 million a year in premium, and they're going to think I'm pocketing all that money. I have yet to see an example where that actually happened. Now, I'm not saying it didn't in your agency. I'm saying I've not run across it. If you want staff to feel like a job owner instead of a job renter, they have to have enough information about how the agency makes money in order to feel like a stakeholder, in order to know what they have a stake in. If they don't have the focus, if they don't have the knowledge and information, then it's going to be very difficult for them to feel like a culture of ownership, feel like a stakeholder in the agency. And if staff are not doing what you want, I promise you, they do not feel like a stakeholder. They feel like a job renter. They're going to collect their paycheck and do their job and may do it well, but you're not going to get the benefits and get some of the things that we were looking at when we went through that checklist. Now, what we talked about here is, if you want to create a performance-based, results-based compensation plan, you need an objective way to measure performance, and KPIs are hands down the easiest way to do that. You need a set amount of money that's on the table, and they know exactly what they have to do, and you can weight that differently, and that's going to give them a score. Their score is their responsibility to score 95 to 100. There's dollars associated with that. You're creating that sense of psychological ownership, that it's not a bonus, it is their responsibility to own that money. You also give them a corporate responsibility, because they have a responsibility to their teammates to do their job, because when the agency grows, when it rises, everybody rises with it. Go back, and we are recording this, so I'll be more than happy. This will be posted on YouTube. You're more than welcome to go back and get the formulas of how I told you to do the formulas and calculating where the person should be at this point in a report period. Now, I'll tell you, our system will automatically track, and if someone is low one period, it'll raise the goal the next and bring any dollars forward. We make that very easy in our system. If you want to do that on Excel spreadsheet, you can. It's not very accounting friendly, but I'll certainly help you do that. And they have a way of knowing the percentage of the job that I do ends up being my evaluation score, and that's going to drive my performance income. So this is from the staff. Imagine staff tomorrow morning being able to come in and know exactly, this is where I'm doing not only my job, but comparing with my teammates. I know what money I've got on the table. I know how the agency's doing, and without doing any type of reports and such, they know where they are. Now, the first question that people ask, well, how does this data get in the management system? I can tell you, we have a way to either connecting directly to a management system or doing a nightly download through an activity report. You can use, for all but a handful of management systems, you can use your agency management system, at least with Symphony. You can use your agency management system, or staff can just very easily in our system they can provide here like a customer name. Did they get the testimonial? And I'm just going to put, because Shalita, I know you're on, and I'm going to, of course, you got the testimonial. And notice that 51.89, the score went, I'm sorry, the score did not go up because they're already over their goal. Let me pick new premium. So I'm going to click new premium, and Shalita, we'll say your premium amount, boy, you got a nice house and everything else. Let's just say it's a premium amount of $3,000. So that 51.89 just went to 56.33. Boy, now look at me. I'm close to 57.14. When staff see that number go up automatically, the brain releases dopamine, which is a highly addictive pleasure drug. People want more dopamine. How do you get it? You give them a focus and an opportunity and responsibility to achieve, and they will watch that. I know people now, you may be one of them, that you can look at your watch or a Fitbit and tell how many steps you take. Self-tracking is a very, very popular thing right now. There's people that will not let someone drive their car because they think that someone's going to mess up their average miles per gallon. People are very accustomed to self-tracking. That's what, it's not micromanaging, it's not monitoring, it's not looking for mistakes. It's self-tracking, just like a Fitbit. Staff then have a way to measure their success, and you have a way to recognize both achievements, celebrate successes, and also recognize challenges. Now, this is on the staff side. What about on the agency side? Well, we believe there's information you need on a daily basis in order to lead your staff, not manage, but lead your staff. So for you, imagine tomorrow morning coming into your agency and in 5 minutes knowing exactly what's going on with your staff. And here's how we do that. I know that Jack has 51.89. I know that Jack is logged in. If Jack had a birthday or a work anniversary, it would tell you here, and you would be able to send Jack a message right through the system. And if Jack has a great sale, gets a great testimonial, receives a designation, you can send a message right through our system to Jack. And so you know exactly what Jack's doing, what all of your staff are doing. You also know what your agency revenue is, what your current month goal is. Okay, let's look at a daily report. And I know that as of today, Jack's written $6,000 in premium. Raymond Reddington has written $4,250 in premium. So I can look in my top 7 KPIs and know exactly what everyone has. And these are a drop-down list. So in our system, you can take a look at any KPI. If I want to look at the end of the week and see what the week has done in premium or completed proposals, any of the KPIs, I can very easily do that. So without running any report, I can look and see what each KPI is doing, and then who's performing and delivering those results. I can look at my agency revenue. I know that I'm 17% ahead of last year, 6% ahead of this year. Agency performance, I can look by department, individual, or job title, know exactly what's going on, once again, without any reports. If I want to look at what Jack is doing, I can look at Jack's in particular. If I want to know who's clocked in, I can know who's clocked in, and I know my revenue goal, which is on the main dashboard, is based on a floating bubble that if you go down 1 month, it raises the goal. If you go up 1 month, it raises the goal for the next month. But in 5 minutes, without running any reports, I can know what each individual is doing. I know how each KPI is doing. If I want to drill down and see what's going on with a particular department or job title or individual, I can do that. Once again, if you want to do timesheets, this is where an administrator in Symphony would live, because you can find out very quickly exactly what's happening, once again, without running any reports. And I think that is a very, very important thing for you to be able to do. Now, in Symphony, we give you away from master KPI list that, once again, we have knows we have a lot of things that says ask. I will send you this list. If you want to do this on your own and you would like for me to send you our list of KPIs, be more than happy to. Just came back from an agency. They have an IT person, and one of the goals is for them to document the IT department. We had an agency that had a new producer and said, I want this producer to deliver bags of cookies to our existing clients as a way to say hello. We have that agency is now assigning so many cookie deliveries as a KPI. We have one agency that put a treadmill in the agency, and a KPI is to walk 20 minutes a day. I think 3 days a week on the treadmill, because they're looking for wellness to be a part of the agency culture. KPIs apply to every person regardless of their job, and we even break it down into categories. So if you want to look at agency development, it's going to show you just KPIs for that, or account development, it'll show you the KPIs for that. So if you need help and you want to try to create KPIs, we'll be more than happy to help you with that. We also have job descriptions and compliance audits. The compliance audits is how you tie staff's following processes, documentation in the management system, renewals, cancellations, new business, to compensation. But I want to take just a moment with something that we feel is very special in this, our organic growth wizard. We really believe you need a way to take the data out of your management system and put it into staff's focus so that you can take that data and make money with it. So far, I have not talked with any agency management system or a user of the agency management system that can tell me how the data and analytics and metrics they get from the management system, how they're going to use that in order to make money. And I think that's really, really important, that if you're going to engage staff and job renters, job owners, not renters, then that focus has to be there, not just on a large scale, but also down to each individual lines of business. So imagine this. I'm going to go to this year, January 1, 12/31. I've plugged in information, including my revenue, whatever growth I want. Here's my planned increase, planned retention. We're going to plug in some numbers here. I'm also going to, in personal lines, we divide it between personal lines, small commercial, which we recommend non-producer driven, and large commercial, producer driven. You can divide it up any way that you want. But we're going to take a look at EFT. Do you want staff asking and signing customers up for EFT, referring between departments, testimonials, thank you cards? I'm going to, out of the management system, well, you could have a pretty good idea as a guess. What's an average premium? What's an average commission rate? What's an average close rate? That the management systems are starting to try to track that. This is some best estimates, and about how many people you've got to talk with in order to get a quote. Then say, yes, give me a quote. And we're going to look at how many policies you have. We look at right now, this 83% is across all departments. So we know you want to round out your commercial clients and your life clients. So the total number of policies, 2,200 in auto, 83% of this, in this example, of all customers, including commercial and life benefits, has an auto policy. Let's say we want to increase that to 86%. Okay, now how do we make money with that? I'm going to go to the report this generates, and in this instance, based on the average premium and commission rate, if this agency went from 83% to 86%, not a huge increase, 83% to 86%, that means they're going to have in the bank $47,916. Tell you exactly what your revenue, organic growth revenue potential is. And I'm going to drill down here, and on page 3 of the report, it says we have to weekly 40 conversations a week is what it's going to take. 40 conversations a week is 4 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon. So you go to your staff and say, hey, staff, we're going to generate $350,000 at whatever, 12.5% commit. We're going to generate $350,000 in premium and new auto. They are going to either pass out or walk out. They're going to say, you're nuts. We can't do 350,000. No, that's not realistic. But if you say, staff, can we talk to 4 people in the morning, 4 people in the afternoon? Sounds doable. That means doing about a little less than 2 quotes a day. Staff, can we do that? That means 2 new auto policies a week. Staff, can we do that? When they see it in rubber meets the road, what do I have to do every day? This is a game changer for your staff. We have one gal in it was a nationwide agency in West Virginia, and initially her goal was 38 quotes in 2 months. And she said, Tom, I can't do that. That is totally unrealistic. So, okay, what is realistic? She said, well, I'm only doing about 5 quotes a week right now. Well, I'm not a math whiz. I did 8 times 5 and got 40, and her goal was 38. So I said, hey, I believe you. I think you know your business better than I do. If we change to 5 a week, are you okay with that? She said, are you sure? I want to make sure you can. She said, yes, I'm perfectly comfortable. I said, no problem. We will raise your goal from 38 to 40. It's 8 times 5. She said, oh, well, wait a minute. Maybe 38 is not unreal. She had just never looked at it in terms of what she had to do every day. She had a very doable goal. She just had to see it in terms that she could understand. And that's what the Organic Growth Wizard does. Now, this gives you rubber meets the road targets, focus. You could tie this directly to compensation by assigning a KPI with a goal and a maximum score. And now you can focus people wherever you want to focus them. If you want them focused on auto, if you want them focused on life, we can focus it. If you want them focused on EFT, if you want them focused on cancellation callbacks, thinking of you, wherever you want your staff focused, we focus them. And we focus them by making it a KPI. And let's say you want to track it, but you don't want to tie it to compensation. No problem. If you're using your agency management system, you simply create an activity code for that particular KPI. You don't even have to assign it to the person. You can still track it because it's not going to be part of their compensation plan necessarily, but if you just simply put it on their list and assign their name to it, then when you go on your homepage, the daily activity report, you can look at any performance you want coming out of your management system and know exactly the amount of dollars that's going to generate for you at the end of the year, the period, whatever you're looking for. So how do you create a performance-based, results-based compensation plan for your staff? Well, I'm going to show you very simply. If you want to do it, I'm going to show you how to do it. First thing you do is take the amount of hourly or salary, whichever you're paying, and you're going to increase that by whatever amount you want to increase it. So in this instance, we're going to give Jack a $3,000 raise, 10%. We're going to say, Jack, your compensation is going up 10%. Now, most of you are probably at best doing a 2 to 3% increase every year, at best. With results-based, you could even put a 10% increase on the table. Now, question is, how do you know how much you can afford to put on the table? What we're going to recommend is, and you can do this on your own if you want to, take your P&L worksheet, take all of your operating expenses. Payroll is going to be your owner management, top level, whatever that salary is, everybody's benefits, everybody's taxes, any miscellaneous bonuses you're going to do. You take any capital expenses, any marketing expenses, and then plan net profit. Let's say you want $110,000 in the bank after tax, that's up to you. You got an acquisition you're planning for, you want to put money back so that you've got money to go after this acquisition. You put those numbers in, And if we are planning $702,000 in revenue and your expenses come to $474,567, that means you have $227,440. This tells you exactly what you can afford to put on the table for compensation. The reason you can put this on the table is because the only way you're paying this amount of payroll out, this set 227, the only way you're paying that out is when you get the money in the bank. So that's why you can put this amount of money on the table. So let's assume we have done that and we're looking at Jack. And Jack, we're going to take of your $3,000. Now, Jack, understand that's not a bonus. It's your job, Jack, to own $33,000. That's your job. We're $1,350 of that increase is going to come from performance. $1,650 is going to come from revenue sharing. So Jack, this is your personal accountability. This is your corporate accountability. Jack, we're going to take your $1,650, divide it by the $702,000, which is the agency goal. And Jack, when the agency does $58,501 every month as an average, again, we recommend a bubble that goes up or down. Jack, when the agency achieves that goal, you're going to get 0.235% of every dollar that comes into the agency, no matter if it's personal, commercial, life, benefits, long-term care, broker fees, whatever it is, Jack, you're going to get 0.235% as long as the agency's growing. So that's how you do the revenue sharing. On the performance income, these are the levels that we recommend. And because most people don't want to pay salary or pay compensation for less than a B minus, you could raise this to 85 if you want to. So you can set these ranges any way that you want to set them. But what you end up having here is, Jack, to get all of your money, you got to score 95 to 100. Jack, if you score 94, you're only going to get 75% of your money. You can set the range. And here's where you set KPIs, you set your goals for the total, like 2020 or 2019, and your maximum scores. And notice the responsibility statement. I understand it's my responsibility to achieve my revenue and KPI goals. In other words, it's my job to do my job. I understand my income as well as future participation as an employee of this agency is based on my personal performance. And I understand it's my responsibility to let management know if I need clarification, training, or resources to do my job. And Jack signs that. That's a contract. Manage processes, lead people. Jack, this is your future. It is your job. As long as you do your job, whatever job you do, I'm going to do my job. And this changes the game for your staff and for you, because you no longer have to try to get staff doing their job. You now become a leader engaging staff, and you're going to help them with their focus that you've provided. So they're taking ownership. If someone chooses not to do their job and accepts the consequences for that, then that's their choice, and you're going to recognize and respect their choice. This means you don't have to think, well, I'm going to tell this person, it just doesn't feel I need you to do. This is a clear focus. Everyone knows exactly what's expected from one another. You have a way to track it because you've got your KPI goals. And you have a way now to sit down with this person and to recognize the achievements, both the achievements and recognize the challenges. So this literally is a compensation plan that will, everything that we talked about at the beginning of our time together. And I'm going to switch back, and let me switch back to the PowerPoint. I want to go back through my list. I want to make sure I did what I told you I would do. Here's the list. Does it make you an employer choice? Yes, because you can put more compensation on the table than any other agency in your market. Is it results-based? Yes. Staff-driven? Yes. Self-tracked? Yes. Millennial-friendly? Yes, because particularly the self-tracking millennials really like that. Is it accounting friendly? Yes, because there's no tiered and reconciliations. It's anti-entitlement, because I don't care if it is a year later, you still got to, it's your job to do your job. We give both recognition and the score and being able to know what they're doing well. And we also give the reward as increased income. We know we're paying the right people because we're not overpaying the wrong people. We know that we're engaging staff, we're celebrating successes and recognizing challenges, and this is making us money because we know exactly what the agency revenue goal is, and we're going to make sure that compensation is tied directly to that. So my recommendation to you as an agency owner is you and your team, your staff, deserve a results-based compensation plan. You do not deserve going in today and feeling like you're pushing a boulder up the hill. And how do you either babysit or not know if you're paying the right amount, or not knowing how are you going to attract talent if you're looking at hiring people? You deserve to be able and have a system to manage processes and lead people for the objective of creating and hiring and engaging job owners rather than job renters. Now, if this looks interesting to you, I'm going to ask you to give me a call. If you go to our website, which let me jump over and go to our website, and I'm going to ask very simply, give us a call. And there's my number. Give me a
You're
call.
not over there, Tom. There we go.
Okay. Give me a call. If you want me to send you KPIs, and this video, I'll edit out our little internet problems. This video will be available on YouTube. Be more than happy. You can watch it. If you have questions, give me a call. If you want to do this on your own, I'm more than happy to answer any questions you have about doing it. Our commitment is to the growth of your agency, no strings attached. That's important to Nina and I to fulfill. That's part of our vision, is part of our mission, is part of our core values. We are here to help you and your agency and your staff grow. If you want to call me and say, Tom, would you run that through me again? The answer is absolutely yes. If you would like to talk about coming on board and having us work with you with a system like Symphony, we are more than happy to talk about that as well. I will tell you when it comes to cost, because I know we do have some smaller agencies on the call, we will never have price be the reason we can't work together. We are a small business. I respect small business, and we will always do everything we can to make it affordable for you. So just know our commitment truly is to your success. If this is something that sounds interesting, and we've talked about for non-producer, we also have a producer model, and I'll be glad to have that conversation with you. With our producer model, it is designed for millennials, and I guarantee you our producer model will attract millennial producers far better than any plan that you are currently using with producers. The old models of compensation, especially for producers, it won't work going forward. I'll just tell you that it won't work. We do have a producer model. I'll be glad if you call me and ask for it. I'll be glad to send you what we use to set up producer compensation. We have tools, and we are certainly willing to work with you every way we can, because compensation, and we'll wrap up on this. Jim Collins in Good to Great said the purpose of a compensation plan is not getting the wrong people doing the right things. The purpose of a compensation plan is to help you get the right people on the bus and keep them there. Compensation does not have to be an expense. It can be a revenue stream. It can be an investment, so you know exactly what you're getting back from your money. If that's not what you're getting, then how do you, I do have one question here. Shalita, you're saying, how do you change producers based on commission only? There are ways that you can do that, and there's some questions that have to be asked in that process. I guarantee you that with our system, you can put something for producers. They will make more money on our system than they will on what, and right now you're on a traditional model. Um, Joe, that was you. I'm sorry that asked that question. Joe, guarantee you, your producers will make more money on our model and have more financial security on our model than what you're currently doing. And it will also put more money in the bank for the agency. So, yes, we can absolutely show you how to migrate existing producers over to a different plan. And it genuinely is better for them and better for you. I've used the time that we have. I want to thank everyone very, very much for your time, and once again, thank you for your patience with the internet challenges. You've got my phone number up here. I will be in the remainder of the afternoon. If you would like to call and talk about it, again, no strings attached. It is our pleasure, genuine pleasure, in talking with you. So thank you once again for your time, and hopefully I'll have the opportunity to talk to every one of you here very soon. Thank you very much, and have a great day.